Continuing on with the questions that were asked. Question: what I cannot understand is your constant insistence upon the word equally in relation to giving and re-giving. I have always been brought up on the belief that God gives abundantly, very much in excess of what effort we re-give. If we put a bushel of potatoes in the ground, God multiplies them 100-fold for us. And for every measure of wheat we give to Him, He gives us 100 to our 1. Please explain that. Answer: the key to that answer is that God's universe is founded upon balance, one balance condition which He divides into two equal and opposite conditions of His electric thinking. This electric universe of matter is composed entirely of these two equal and opposite conditions. Every effort of every creating thing is expressed by the motion of interchange between those pairs of opposite conditions, such as matter and space, which constantly interchange equally by breathing into and out of each other equally. Without that equality of rhythmically repeated interchange, the universe could not continue. That rhythmic interchange constitutes the heartbeat of God's body. Its rhythm and balance are absolute because the division in God's electric thinking is equally balanced. Now, as to the question, it is not a bushel of potatoes or a measure of wheat which you give to God's body for re-giving from God's body. It is a measure of seed which multiplies its pattern form in God's body by transforming one form into another form. There has been no multiplication of God's body, nor has its balance been upset. An equal substance of earth has been transformed into an equal substance of potatoes or wheat. There is no more and no less in God's body by transforming one substance into another. Neither has that multiplication of potatoes or wheat been given to you until you re-give in effort or service. Until you re-give in effort or service. If you do not re-give to obtain them, they are still God's body and will re-transform their forms and substances into the formless earth from which they sprang. You cannot have what you do not pay for. Love given must be paid for with equal love re-given. Service accepted must equal service rendered. The potatoes or wheat in the ground are still God's body. He has not given them to you for your body or your use until you re-give equally to earn the gift. Question: I see that clearly now, but how would you explain its application to a man in business who gives more than he is paid for, or more than is expected of him, or of a genius who gives all he has with less pay than a workman, or of a great inventor like Goodyear who starved all of his life but gave untold value to the world for millions of times? Untold value to the world many millions of times in excess of what he received. Answer: the man you refer to could not give more than he has received. He could not give more of himself than he is, for all his life he has been given that which has made him what he is. If he gives more than is expected of him, God's law will balance it in promotion or increased salary. If that is not his motive, and if an increase is not given him, he has enriched himself by experience and better judgment in the management of his life. The genius who gives his all of great value for less pay than a materialist has 10,000 times more reward of the kind of pay he wants than the materialist. He has the ecstasy of living in the high heavens, the joy of self-expression, of hearing heavenly rhythms which do not exist for the materialist, and his immortality lives forever in the memory of man, while the materialist is forgotten. Goodyear's body starved, but his soul was enriched for eons to come by having demonstrated his immortality. His reward was a satisfaction that all the money in the world could not equal. He won the gratitude of the world. You are still re-giving love to him for the love he gave to you, and so is the whole world. There are other values than money values, and money values have no meaning whatsoever unless they are the manifestation of love. This gives me an opportunity to say something that I have been leading up to say to you. I'm trying to unfold the cosmic mentality of the cosmic race of man by helping mankind to realize that the nature of God and of man and of all creating things and of all the laws and principles relating to creating things and all the laws and principles relating to man's dealings with other men are founded on love. God is love, and creation is love manifested. The universe is founded on love. There is not in the universe anywhere, or in anything, or in any experience of man, or animal, or of the elements, or of the starry systems, that does not express love. It may be difficult to change such misconceptions as sin, evil, and wickedness in general. But sin or evil do not exist, and I shall fail in my task if I cannot demonstrate to you with conviction that this is God's universe which expresses God's nature and that it is all good. We have lived in an evil universe long enough. Wars, fears, and hatreds have been the fruit of it. God sent a message of love into the world 2,000 years ago to prepare man's mind for the thought of love, which was then unborn in his. God sent another messenger of love to man of new comprehension for the express purpose of gradually ending man's barbarian days of fear and hate, and transform him to the ways of love. That is the reason for these steps in trying to unravel the great complexities of the unknowing life of material sensing to the knowing life of cosmic expression of the God nature in all the ways of man. Question: do we meditate with our mind or our brain? Answer: we meditate with our mind. There is only one mind, which is God's mind. God's mind is the one knower, the one thinker. The reason you think that you have a separate mind of your own is that the thoughts you think are the ones stored in your brain as memories or experiences of your own body or of your own thoughts. God's mind motivates these thoughts, which you think of as your own. You could not think except for the motivating power of desire in you. Mind thinks ideas of its knowing into forms by dividing one ideal, which can be known, into many parts. These parts are electrically projected into a three-dimensional universe through the pulsation of thinking. The brain records the thought form symbols and other electrical actions, but records of thought are not thoughts. Thinking is electric, but electricity is not knowledge. It is but the motivating power for expressing knowledge. Question: what relation is my mind to my brain? Answer: your brain is electric matter, just electric waves, which all matter is. Matter does not think, nor does it know. You do not think with your brain. You think through it by projecting an electric current through it exactly as you project an electric current through your phonograph to motivate phonograph records. Your phonograph may have a dozen records, ideas, but it does not know what is recorded upon them. Your brain has thousands upon thousands of ideas recorded upon it, but your brain does not know what is upon them. The intelligence which selects the desired record for your phonograph also selects the desired record from your brain. The electric current of your desire motivates these records into actions. Your brain is a part of the electrical machine, which is your body. Its function is to record memories, experiences, and information. It is also the central nerve ganglion of the body, which acts automatically to fulfill the demands of the body, or, when willed, to act by the intelligence which centers it. The brain does not know what it is doing any more than the automobile knows what it is doing, or where it is going, when activated by the intelligence which centers it. Knowledge is a quality of mind and not of matter. Matter records knowledge, but a record of knowledge is not knowledge any more than a printed book is the ideal recorded in the book. One student reminded me that science has proven that the brain thinks because an instrument has been invented that records electric wave pulsations in the brain. That instrument does not prove any such thing. It merely proves that an electric current is passing through the brain when mind thinks, just as the same instrument can prove that an electric current is passing through your recording phonograph or washing machine or wire recorder or your refrigerator, but that does not prove that those machines think. It merely proves that all electric matter obeys the intelligence which motivates all matter. Electricity is a servant of mind, but it is not mind. Witness, for example, the telegram, which passes through an electrically motivated wire as an electric current. You know that the ideal in the telegram is a mind extension arising from an intelligence which thought that ideal into form. You know that the wire is not thinking that thought. You know also that the wire is but recording form symbols automatically, and that it has no knowledge of what it is doing. You know also that the telegram itself does not know the ideal which it manifests, just as books do not know the ideas and diagrams which are printed in them. In this whole universe, we have only mind and matter to deal with. Mind alone can know things and think things. Matter is electric and can only sense things. Sensing is not knowing. The brain is composed of electric vibrations. Vibrations belong to the physical universe of motion. All matter is motion only. Electric waves, vibrations of motion. And the sole purpose of matter is to build bodies in forms and patterns, conceived by mind and imagined into form by the electric thinking of mind. Electricity is the tool used to fashion mind conceptions of the Creator into form, but the tool used by any creator is not the Creator. Question: what is the relation of my mind to my brain? Answer: your invisible mind has its center of consciousness within the visible brain, and that conscious center coordinates with the seat of sensation which the brain obeys whenever your consciousness demands actions by it. There are machines made which will do 1,000 complex things when buttons are pressed by the will of mind to compel those machines to obey one's will. The machine adds or subtracts, prints columns, and computes totals more accurately than the human machine can do them, but the human brain has no more awareness of what it is doing than the computing machine. Ideas and concepts formed by your intelligence are expressed through the brain, but not by the brain. Your meditations are spiritual. You interpret them into matter electrically. The physical universe of matter is but the electric record of thoughts of mind, but it is not thought. Much confusion arises from the assumption that we are thinking when we are but sensing. The brain is constantly receiving electric messages from all over the body. Such messages are not mental, they are purely electrical. They produce sensation. The brain senses and records every message and sends counteracting messages to other parts of the body. A message from the arm says, "I am in pain." Pain is a sensation, not a thought. Sensing comes from the body while thought comes from the mind. We believe that we are thinking when we are but electrically sensing. All day long, the body is telling the body through the brain that it is hungry, that it needs a drink of water, or wants to dance, or that it is cold, and 100 other things. The senses of the body are thus continually intercommunicating with the senses. But these electrical sensations are not thoughts until those sensations make us mentally aware of them. We then think, and we decide to do something about them. We give our body a drink of water, or gratify its desire to dance, or put a coat on it to warm it. Our mental decision is a thought, but the electric message of the body to the body is but a sensation. It is the body speaking to the body. Such a sensation may not even come from your own body to your own body. Another body can record his thought into an electrical sensation by ordering his senses to record the thought in words, which are again recorded as a telegram to you. A series of sensations, which have no meaning in themselves, are translated into meaning by your intelligence, and you then mentally decide to do something about it. The sensations in matter which have taken place between the mental operation of the sender and the receiver are purely electrical. They have no relation to mind, nor to thought of mind. Again, we repeat this fact in other words of the same meaning. All matter is but sensed electrical vibrations of motion. Matter has no intelligence, nor knowledge, nor power to think or meditate. That applies to your brain, for your brain is naught but matter, centered by a guiding intelligence. The same thing can be said of your automobile. All material bodies have what might be termed an electrical awareness of each other and of their relation to each other. The brain is the seat of such an electrical awareness in man. Electrical awareness is necessary to an electrically mechanized universe, but electrical sensations or vibrations between mechanized parts of matter are not mental, for an electrically controlled machine in your factory has exactly the same electric awareness that you have. Its wired nervous system conveys electric messages to all of its parts for the dual purpose of motivating them as well as for adjusting all parts to each other. Brain's handicap meditation. It might well be said that instead of our brains aiding in meditation, we meditate in spite of our brains. For perfect meditation, we need to lose our body, to forget it as though we had no body. One cannot lose or forget his body if his senses will not let him do so. Imagine a musical genius trying to compose a symphony in competition with sensations. He could not do it except by long practice of being able to shut out any sensations whatsoever, such as noise, discomfort, or inharmonious environment. A master can do this, but not a novice. Question: does that explain why geniuses are so far greater than other men? answer, yes, it does. The genius is ahead of other men because of his awareness of his divine power, which he has multiplied and remultiplied 1,000-fold by his lifelong habit of seeking aloneness with himself, for the purpose of unfolding that divine power for his own creative expression. Your own genius is as great as any man's on earth. The only reason that you do not know it is because you have never given yourself a chance to know of your divine inheritance by forgetting your body long enough to become aware of your soul. You allow emotions and tensions of body sensing to dominate you instead of your sleeping soul. Go into the deep forest and awaken your soul. That is what meditation is for. And the moment you begin to practice it, that moment you begin to express the unlimited power of the awakening genius within you. If you acquire the habit of meditation, you multiply your knowledge and the power to express your knowledge. You also give your body an escape from its tensions, which heals it of all ills by restoring its balance. Through meditation, Edison acquired the knowledge and power to unfold an idea not yet known on earth. Through meditation, he got the concept for that idea in a flash of inspiration and created a body for it through concentratedly thinking the ideal of that concept into a physical form. Through meditation, the great writers, painters, sculptors, poets, and musicians are enabled to work knowingly with God as one with Him. Having acquired their concept from God's all-knowing mind, they create their concept into material form by knowingly working with God's hands to create eternally living masterpieces, which will endure because their very nature is God's nature manifested in them. Question: how can your mind relax when you say that mind is unchanging? Also, do I have to concentrate to meditate? Answer: it is not your mind which relaxes it as your electric thinking. When your thinking is concentrated, it is under the same stresses and strains which a clock spring is when wound up tight. It is an effort to wind a clock spring up tight, for it resists being wound, and it is straining to become unwound. I will draw you a picture which will illustrate that. It will also illustrate your thinking when concentrating. When you release all tension, the clock spring relaxes. It expands to a position of rest. It is utterly released from effort to resist strains. I will diagram that also. It will illustrate your thinking when decentrated. And then I can't show, I can show you. I gotta go over to this screen and show you. Figure 1 is a clock spring wound up tight to exemplify concentration. Figure 2, same spring unwound to exemplify decentration. Figure 3 represents water concentrated into a drop and decentrated into vapor. Figure 5 represents concentration of light rays to a point. Light rays that concentrated through a lens will burn a hole through paper or fabric. Light rays proceeding in the opposite direction will expand and cool by decentrating toward space. Okay, now let me do this back. I've got two screens here, I'm going back and forth. Conclusion. I hope you can all clearly see that the only desire you should ever have is the desire to acquire God awareness in you for the purpose of extending God's nature from you as your nature, His power as your power, and His knowing as your knowing. Meditation is for the purpose of acquiring this awareness. And if you acquired it just for the bliss of it, for the ecstasy and peace of it, for yourself alone, that is not enough. For the God nature is purposeful, and you must be purposeful by extending your nature to all other men for their cultural uplift. World culture comes alone from those who have God awareness in them. Without God awareness in man, he is in the jungle. The measure of his growing God awareness is the measure of his growing culture. What applies to man as a whole applies to you. Your masterliness is of your own making as well as its own mediocrity. One of my favorite sayings is this: genius is self-bestowed, and mediocrity is self-inflicted. The world of imaginings. Meditation transports one from the transient world of matter to the real world of dreaming, visions, and imaginings, where idea is and concepts are born. That is the world where sounds are heard in the silence of your soul, where no sound is, where rhythms of symphony and poem are the rhythms of cosmic pulsing of God's thinking manifested in the heartbeat of his universe. God's ecstatic kingdom of the light is the uncreated universe of souls, of things which have not yet appeared in form, but which eternally are. Go thou there. You may journey to that ecstatic world in God's high heavens for just your soul's asking to be transported to that kingdom of the souls of things. Desire that stillness within your soul, and behold, you are there. The soul of all the universe, of countless uncreated ones, which springs from one in you. Behold yourself, your uncreated self, eternal you, not yet manifested, or if manifested, have forgotten it as though it never were. Desire thou that kingdom, and behold, it standeth before thee. And if there are those among men who ask, wherein shall I seek that kingdom of the souls of uncreated things? I say, go thou and seek beauty. For where shall I find beauty? You will find beauty where love is, for beauty lies in the giving of love and its re-giving. But where shall I find love in this sordid world of fear, where no peace is, of hatred where no love it can be, of ugliness which stifleth beauty, and evil which driveth love away? Seek it within yourself. When you find self, you will find love, for naught but love is within self. Where love is, neither fear nor hate can be, for evil exists not. There is naught but experience in extended bodies, and all experiences are good. For I say, all experiences extend from love, and love awaits their completion in love. Remember our father-mother's saying in the message of the Divine Iliad, I am a patient God. All men will come to me in due time, but theirs is the agony of awaiting. These are God's words to cosmic man. You have undoubtedly read these lessons straight through, all at once, from beginning to end. Now begin from the beginning again, slowly, carefully, a sentence at a time, a paragraph at a time, and a page and a chapter at a time, until their deeper meaning becomes a part of your inner consciousness. This is new knowledge and new thinking. You cannot transform your past ages of traditional thinking into knowing without giving such deep and earnest thought to it that it becomes a part of your very self. New thinking cannot be grasped at once. Do not be discouraged if you do not attain expected heights immediately. You would not expect to play the classics at once if you studied music, for that would be new thinking for you, and you would have to begin with scales and finger exercises. When you begin to think cosmically, you will advance rapidly if your desire is keen. But from the very day you begin, you will note increasingly greater power in your work and a still greater transformation in your personality. This message to you is from my soul to your soul, and not to the senses of your body. By giving deep thought to it, you will find that which you seek. I can open the door for you through which I have entered and found the light, but only you, yourself, can make it a part of you by giving yourself the time to absorb it completely. Realizing this fact, I have not asked you to send in examination papers, reports, or essays such as you would be required to do if you were obtaining information which could be remembered and repeated at will. To apply the customary rules of examination by questionnaires would not be fair to you, for one can be examined only for what information he has. A man cannot be examined as to what knowledge he has, for the depths of knowledge cannot be sounded. Knowledge is light from which all ideas of things are born, about which you can become informed. But information concerning effect is not knowledge of their cause. Whatever emanates from you as a result of this new knowing will be creative expression, not mere repetition. Knowledge is the one basis for creation. To become knowingly a creator is to achieve the highest pinnacle of human expression. However, if you need further clarification of anything which may not have been made sufficiently clear to you, write your question clearly and briefly as possible and send it here. All such questions, if not duplicated by others, will be printed in the question and answer section of following lessons. And so that ends that chapter of this study with Walter Russell. And this is the Dove Lady, over and out.